Have you ever felt lost or unsure of your purpose in life? Do you struggle with negative self-talk or low self-esteem? Are you seeking a stronger connection with God? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then this episode is definitely for you. We'll be diving into how positive self-talk and faith can help us live with purpose and intention, guided by God's voice within us. We'll cover 3 key points in this episode. Key point number 1 is understanding the power of positive self-talk and faith. Key point number 2 is connecting with God's voice within us through scripture. Key point number 3 is practical tips for cultivating a purposeful life guided by God. Before I dive into God's voice within, positive self-talk and faith for purposeful living, please smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the tips I release each week. Let's begin by discussing the first point, the power of positive self-talk and faith. Positive self-talk is a powerful tool that can greatly impact our lives. It involves consciously replacing negative thoughts with more constructive, uplifting, and faith-filled thoughts. This practice can help us overcome self-doubt and develop a more optimistic outlook on life. Faith, on the other hand, is trusting and believing in God's plan and that God has a plan for your life, even when we can't see the bigger picture. When we have faith in God's plan, we can better understand our purpose and experience the peace and joy that comes with it. Now, let's explore how we can connect with God's voice within us through scripture. One of the best ways to do this is by reading and meditating on scripture. The Bible is filled with God's wisdom and guidance, which can help us navigate life's challenges and discover our true purpose. Let's look at a few relevant scriptures from the ESV Bible. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your path." This verse reminds us to put our faith in God and to seek and trust in his guidance. By doing so, we'll find clarity and direction in our own lives. And then there's Romans 12:2. "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is good and acceptable and perfect." This scripture encourages us to renew our minds and focus on God's will, and we are to do this daily, rather than conforming to the worldly standards. Through this transformation, we can discover our true purpose and live in alignment with it. Now that we've covered the importance of connecting with God's voice through scripture, let's discuss some practical tips for cultivating a purposeful life guided by God. Tip number 1 is start your day with prayer and meditation. This practice helps set the tone for your day, and this allows you to connect with God's voice within you. Tip number 2 is practice gratitude. Acknowledging your blessings and expressing gratitude can shift your mindset and help you recognize God's presence in your life. And tip number 3 is surround yourself with positive, faith-filled individuals. And this is super important. The people that we spend time with can greatly influence our thoughts and actions. Choose to be around those who inspire and uplift you in your journey of faith and purpose. Number 4 is be intentional about your thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts and make a conscious effort to replace negative self-talk with positive, faith-filled affirmations. And a way that you can do this is you take 2 sheets of paper and you can write down all your negative thoughts. Take some time with yourself, write down all your negative thoughts. And then what you want to do is you want to look at positive thoughts to counter those negative thoughts. And so what you do is you make sure that those positive thoughts that you can counter those negative thoughts with, that you have those based on scripture and make them faith-filled affirmations. For instance, if you feel like, I can't play basketball, you may say something like, "How can I learn through God's strength to play basketball?" Or "I can learn to play basketball and be a better basketball player through God's strength in me." So those are some ways that you can make faith-filled affirmations. I want you to remember, and it's super important that you remember, that God has a huge, unique plan and purpose for each of our lives. And what I mean by huge is because it doesn't have to be millions of people, but you have to understand that if you happen to affect one person with your life because you're using it in line with God's will for your life, then that impact on one individual in their life is super huge. I want you to remember that God has a unique plan and purpose for each of our lives. And by connecting with His voice within us, we can tap into the power of positive self-talk and faith to live with intention and to live a life on purpose. And just like that, we're at the end of this episode. If you found this episode helpful and are seeking guidance in living a more purposeful life, I invite you to click on the link in the description to learn more about coaching with me. And together we can work on strengthening your faith, developing a positive mindset, and discovering your true purpose. In the comments below, tell me if you found this episode helpful or have any additional insights on the topic. I really would love to hear from you, and I want you to know that your input may be helpful to others too. I invite you to join the Elevators inbox for some helpful tips, tools, and resources, plus some personal updates on my own personal life sent to your inbox each week. I promise I won't spam you and that you can unsubscribe at any time. And finally, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for tuning in. This is Coach Brian.